Welcome to the second part of the course. In this part, we're going to be mixing all of the drums. There's a thing I like to mention before we start on. Mixing and mastering will get easier for you when you start choosing the right sounds. How do you know a sound is the right sound? The only way you're going to learn is by listening to a lot of music. When you listen to a lot of music, you will develop a better ear. And that's what we want to do. We want to develop a better ear. But it is something I really wanted to mention before we started on this. Now, how do I start my mixing and mastering process? The way I normally start my mixing process is by priority. By priority, I mean, what is it that is most important in your song? In this case, we're going to be mixing all of the drums. What is it that is most important in the drums? The kick, of course. In this case, we have 3 kicks. Main kick sounds like this. Second kick sounds like this. This one's very white, and then we got a third kick. When you put these 3 together, it's a mess. It's boomy. It doesn't sound quite right. So let's go into the main kick. We got all these 3 kicks here, as you can see. And we're going to make a group for this. We're going to call it a kick. Of course, we want to make sure that all these 3 kicks are linked there. So command and drag your pointer there. Just right click and click on route to this track only. We now have a bus channel for all of the kicks. As I've said before, priorities. So what's more important than what? In this case, the first kick is the main kick. So we need to pretty much respect the decision for it to be the main kick. We cannot mix it so that another kick stands out. If the main kick is the main kick, we got to keep it as a main kick. So let's play all 3 kicks together on a loop. And we're going to be playing around with the EQ to know what we need and what we don't. All right. For the second kick, if we listen to it, it's a very wide kick. And honestly, what I really want with this kick is the highs and the space. We want to give it some space. So let's open a parametric EQ. And let's get rid of the lows. Remember, we're not doing this for itself. We're doing this for the whole kick. So let's add the main kick and see how it sounds when we remove all of the low frequencies. We can do something like this so it can still give some mid frequencies. Now, why am I not using a low cut? Low cut usually adds phasing issues, and we don't want to add any phasing issues. So right now, all we have to do is add a low shelf. I think that's what this is called. Yeah. Whenever you use a low shelf on parametric EQ, make sure that you put it at 48 dB, something like this. So it's a bit more sharp, and it creates a bit more resonances. So maybe play around with different types of dB. In this case, I feel like second, something like this. I think this is all we need from the second kick. And now for the first kick, do we need those highs? Let's see if we do or not. Let's use a high shelf. Let's get rid of some of the highs. We can get rid of some of these highs for sure. Let's change the steepness on this. I think something around 12K will work. 14K, something like this. As you can see, like, we don't really need these frequencies. And we're just shaping what we need. Let's listen to the third kick. Third kick has a lot of mids. We don't need any lows. So let's get rid of some of the lows. Let's put some linear EQ. As you can see, this is rumbling a bit too much. Do we need some of these highs? Let's see. They actually do sound pretty cool. Sort of adds like a certain resonance. It sounds cool for the kick. Okay, now, do we need to level these down? Maybe we do. So let's listen to the main kick and let's include the third kick, the second kick first. All the way down, we're gonna put it all the way up. You don't have to look, you just have to listen. You can look somewhere else. I feel like right there, it sounds good. And it's at -2 decibels. Let's try it again. All the way down. Let's listen to this. I feel like around there feels good. Again, -2 decibels. I think that's great. We're going to add the third kick now. Let's see at what point we need it or not. Actually, maybe we can get rid of the highs on this one. Let's listen to this. Yeah, this is the reason for this kick. The reason for this kick is to just add a bit of mids. And to be honest, it already feels good without any need to remove any volume. So now everything is routed to one channel. What do we do to this? Normally, the things I like doing to a kick is adding a transient processor. In this case, I'm using FL Studio's transient processor, but you can use something like Transpire, which is free. With transient processor, we can add some attack and maybe add some release or remove some release. So let's listen to this. Off, on. I think it sounds really good. Off, on. Honestly, we're gonna need some of this. So we're gonna add it like at 50% or something. And what if we add some drive? Let's see what it sounds like. Right now it's too much and it muffles the sound. You always want to exaggerate your effects and then lower it down. It's honestly, to me, that's the best way to know when to stop. Honestly, just a tiny bit adds a little bit of warmth, but without transient processor, the whole kick sounds like this. And with it, now, do we need some release or do we need to remove it? This sounds like a big room kick, which I don't really like. I do feel like it's a bit too long. So we can put it around there. Without it, with it, sounds a bit more controlled. I think we can add some more volume on this one. Maybe just keeping it at the same volume of the other one really helps. Let's try again once more if our EQs are sounding good or not. Do we need more mids on this? No, this sounds horrible. We want to get rid of that. Leave it around here. And let's check at the other kick. Do we need some highs on this? I do feel like it sounds horrible. So let's get rid of that. Do we need some lows on this? It does help. It goes very well with how the main kick sounds. Without effects. With effects. Feel like it sounds good. We can maybe higher the shelf a bit. For a more pleasant click, which I actually like the click on this. What we're basically doing to the kick right now is just making sure that the kick is controlled. That's it. It's controlled. And it should be easier if it was only one kick, but it's 3 kicks, which we're mixing. And this could be the result. Before, after. Very cool. Now, do we need to make everything mono? Yes. We need to make at least the main kick mono. And in order to make that, you have 3 knobs here, which is the stereo separation tool. Make it all the way to the left and it will be separated. Move it all the way to the right and it will be merged, which means goes mono. This is how the kick sounds. If you move it around, it's already mono. So for the second kick, kicks should always be mono, but if you already have a layer that is mono, you can do extra things with it. This takes your music on to the next level, to something more interesting. We could completely open it up, but it's overpowering, so just a tiny bit sounds good. What about the next kick? Since this kick has a lot of low frequencies, what I suggest is making it mono completely too. This is how they all sound without any effects. This is how they now sound. A bit more controlled, right? We can go ahead and try to see what the transient processor is doing. Once again, let's see how it sounds. Without. With it. We can go ahead and maybe boost a bit more of attack. That's something cool, really cool. Can we add something else? Yes, we can. We could add a clipper here and see what we can do with the clipper. We want to make sure that we're not truly affecting it. So let's make the trestle all the way down. This is how it sounds without. With it. How round or how much do you want it? The threshold is basically how round your clipper will be. But right now, since it's a kick, we just want it to be like super sharp. And for the post, we want to make sure that we do it at a point where the kick is still powerful, but maybe we can add a tid of clipping, which will make it sound a bit more powerful. Let's play around with this. Right now it's distorting. So let's over distort it and then we go down. I think that's a good place. Let's remove it, see how it sounds. This is how it sounds now with clipper. Without, with it. Can remove a bit more so it's not so aggressive. Without, with it. It glues everything together, and I do think it's sounding pretty well. So that's for the kick. Now we're gonna move on to the claps. The clap consists of 3 claps, or actually, yeah, 3 claps. They sound like this. We are going to leave the kick on because everything else goes. Remember when I said priorities? I meant it's basically like the way you see mixing is basically like a pyramid, and what's on top will rule what everything else does. If you look at it like that, it will make it easier for you to mix and master. Now, let's listen to the first clap. The first clap should be like a main clap kind of thing. This is clap 1, 3, and 2. Let's listen to one, just one of them with a kick. This should be the main clap. And as you can hear it, let's mute the kick. It has a ton of low frequencies. So what do? We can open an EQ and get rid of the lows. Very simple. use a low shelf always and try to use linear phase whenever mixing. Let's have a listen to this. We want to have zero low frequencies. So make sure to add the highest steep here. So steep 8 all the way down. We want to have zero bass frequency. So let's listen to it together with the kicks. Maybe let's add a bit of more highs here. This could potentially have even less highs. I mean, this could potentially go all the way up. Let's listen to this once again with sub, and then we're going to move it till we find it pleasing. Right now, it's horrible. Right there, it sounds just fine. Are we going to boost this to get high frequencies? No, we're not. We have layers that have high frequencies. And if we need high frequencies, once we add the other two, we'll see, and we'll try to add them with a couple techniques. Right now, we're balancing everything out. Remember, all you have to do at the beginning is balancing stuff. Then you mold it. Then you mold it. Let's add the second clap, and let's see what it needs and what it doesn't. The second clap is pretty short. Seems. Sounds like this. The third clap sounds like this. Let's get rid of the lows on both of these. We don't really need any lows here. And I'm pretty sure they might have some just leaking there. As you can see, they have a bunch. So let's mute the other clap. This does have some. Let's go up to the point where we don't affect it that much. And then we can maybe get rid of some of the highs too. That's it. Make sure to have linear EQ. And right now, we're not making very aggressive cuts. We're not using a low cut. We're not cutting. We're just molding with EQ. So that's how the clap is sounding. Let's see the second clap. When I said that you could watch this tutorial and learn to do mixing and mastering from your bedroom, whether you're using professional headphones or not, these are the kind of techniques that I mean will be able to translate even if you use whatever you're using. Because these are things that you must do. And you have visual elements to help you. So let's listen to this clap. As you can see, you have some low frequencies here, which you don't want. And get rid of those. Do we need to get rid of some of the highs? Let's see. If we can remove some highs without affecting the original sound, let's go ahead and remove them. Let's try to see without any effects. With it, things sounds cool. We can maybe get some highs back. Without it, with it. Right now, it feels like I'm cutting some sort of low mids, which I don't really want to get rid of. So let's add some steepness. And let's see. Like this. Without it. With it. Cool. It feels like around here, it has some sort of like snap, which I really like. So let's keep it. Now let's listen to all of these three together, as well as the kick. And let's see how it's sounding. Let's remove the EQs on the claps. It sounds horrible. Uncontrolled. With EQ, it's sounding a bit more controlled, and some of the loudness went somewhere else because you're no longer having frequencies that are making it muddy and horrible. Now, we can go ahead and focus on the volumes. For the first clap, let's put it all the way down and listen to it together with a kick. don't have to look. You can look somewhere else. What I'm trying to accomplish here is to make both of them sound like one. Even though they're two completely different sounds, I do feel like there is a sort of gluing that can happen with these. Let's listen to this once again. So now for the third clap, let's do the same thing we did for the first clap. Put the volume all the way down. Let's see. Let's take it up. We don't have to look, we just have to listen. As you can see, it's just adding a sort of tick, 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 and that's it. Just a hit, a small attack effect to it. Let's add this third clap, or like the second clap. Now, this is sounding pretty good. Let's create a group with all of these three claps in case we want to do something else later. Now, let's create a clap loop. Let's select all of these three claps and route it all to this clap channel. In order to do that, just by one click. In order to link all of these just by clicking once, all you have to do is click Command and then click on the clap channel that you want to link it to. We're gonna change the color to something like this red, chocolate brown red thing, because these are all buzzes, right? Can we do more EQing on this? I don't know, but let's check. We do. Let's make it more steep. Let's remove the EQ. Set it. And that's it. Now, is there anything else we can do to these claps to make them sound more interesting? Some of the techniques are adding distortion, chorus. We're going to try to add something to make it sound more interesting. The main clap, I feel like the main clap could have more space. And by space, I mean could have more presence. We can add something like a Pro R and add a small room and basically link it, create some sort of resonance. Find a frequency that you like. Let's add another one. Something around here sounds good. We're going to select the distance here for something like close. We're going to get rid of some of the lows here. We don't want anything on the delay reverb to be too low. I meant to disable this. I do not want it. Okay. We want to make sure this is a chorus kind of thing. Chorus sounds really cool. And then we can select whether we want a dark or more bright. Stick with me. I know it sounds weird yet, but it's going to sound good. It's going to add something extra to the clap. Make sure the stereo, the spacious is something between like 50, 60. But it really depends on the track that you're working on. And now let's play around with the mix. Let's see how much we want to add of this. That's how the original sounds like. Just a tiny bit can really add a lot. Let's add some more space. Let's see if that helps. I mean, around 26, more than 30 feels like it's just something else. So this is how it sounds without it. This is how it sounds with it. And it definitely adds a bit of space. Now, let's listen to the kick and the claps together. That is sounding much better, but is that enough? What if we try to add something like an inflator, Oxford inflator, and see if we can add some sort of extra pump to the clap? Of course, I'm over exaggerating this, but